Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to The Division 2, and today we're going to be diving into everything that you need to know for Year 6 Season 1 of the game titled First Rogue. We just had the trailer, details, and everything about this update unveiled at Ubisoft Forward, so to anyone who tuned into that stream, thank you so much. It was record-breaking for my channel. But for now, we're sifting through all of the information that we got from that, and so in this video, like I said, we're going to be going over everything with Year 6 Season 1, which launches tomorrow in the game. So let's waste no time and switch right over. During Ubisoft Forward, the game posted this, saying, "Get ready for Year 6 Season 1 First Rogue launch." That is tomorrow, June 11th. This is when the servers are going to go down for maintenance as usual to deploy the update, and it is the usual estimated downtime of 3 hours. Once that's done, the update will be live. And to accompany this, we have the patch notes going over everything to expect in Year 6 Season 1, which again is titled First Rogue. We have this pretty awesome art here of Aaron Keener, and so let's just dive right into it. For the Manhunt, Year 5 Season 3 ended with a shocking revelation. Rogue Agent Number 1 and his sworn nemesis of the Division, Aaron Keener, is alive. And in Hunt for the Truth, Agent Kelso located him and decided to join forces with him. The line between light and dark, Agent and Rogue keeps blurring as we learn that Keener was working with Fei Lao to undermine the Black Tusk and neutralize the Hunter threat during the events of Warlords of New York. And this is, like we've said, the line between Rogue and SHD keeps blurring, and so it's cool that they point that out there. Keener is coming to Washington, D.C. as he has sent us an invitation to parlay, but first we will need to pass his twisted trials and prove our worth. An alliance with Keener and his rogues could be the key to stopping Natalia Sokolova and the Black Tusk, but what will the cost be? Can Keener be trusted? Is the enemy of our enemy truly our friend? So that's a pretty good setup, and so we are going to be going after Aaron Keener once again. This is the calendar for the season. The new activity this time around, we used to have target hunts, then we had ally rescues in Year 5, then we had investigations last season. Now they're going to be these kinds of trials, which as of right now we don't have any details on. Of course, we'll find out tomorrow when the first one goes live. But between Echo, Hercules, Leto, and Nyx, we're going to have these 4 trials that then lead up to the Aaron Keener climax mission at the end of the season. But let's keep going and talk about one Endgame. This is the big feature that is releasing with this season, and it is basically a restructuring and streamlining of how the Division 2 handles its progression from 30 to 40. All right, so with Year 6 Season 1 First Rogue, we are unifying the Division 2 and Warlords of New York DLC owners in one endgame. All owners of Tom Clancy's The Division 2 will now be able to level up their characters to level 40 without the need to own Warlords of New York. Players will be able to keep leveling their characters beyond 30 in the streets of DC and reach the level 40 cap without any additional purchase. So this is a pretty big change because previously, once you hit 30, you either had to go to New York to get to 40 and unlock all of that content, or you were just done with the game and you had to play at the level 30 endgame. That's now going away, along with a lot of the systems that were in place there, and so that's going to create an all-new experience, again, for new people coming into the game, or people who didn't previously own Warlords. It says right here, upon reaching level 40, the endgame will then be available to all agents. This includes all level 40 items implemented in the past years, seasons in their activities, leagues, global events, apparel events, manhunts, including the brand new season, level 40 game modes, including the Summit, Countdown, and the recently released incursion, Paradise Lost. That said, they do say right here that Warlords of New York remains available as an additional purchase if you want that exclusive manhunt, if you want the New York map, and the special gear that comes with it, and notably like the skills that you get from the rogue targets there. That stuff is still going to be exclusive to expansion owners. But this is a pretty big shift, and for people currently playing the game wondering what relevance does this have to me, of course the biggest benefit is to new players, but I think the one thing that we can all gain to benefit from this is the fact that if everybody can access seasons, if they can access the same endgame that we all play, then that is going to increase the matchmaking pools and the player populations across all platforms. So hopefully that is one beneficial change that we see from this. And they go into some detail here about what exactly that means for the game, including the world tier system has now been removed from the game. And this is something that I think was kind of a long time coming. You've had people talk about over the years how the world tier system seemed a bit outdated, how it probably shouldn't have been brought over from the Division 1 to the Division 2, at least in the way that it was. So that's now gone. You have targeted loot and raids available at 40. What does it say right here? Gear score has been removed entirely from the game. Again, that's a big shift that was probably a long time coming after Warlords got rid of it in 2020. Exotic reconfiguration no longer takes gear score into account. They've readjusted and redistributed item quality and power, enemy power from levels 26 to 30, and then from 30 to 40, basically reconstructing that entire experience that previously you had to go through Warlords to get. You could also now travel between DC and New York during the 30 to 40 experience, so that's a pretty notable change. That was something that Warlords didn't allow you to do. And they've adjusted the story flow for how main missions work when you're on a new character, because you no longer have gear score requirements for the invaded strongholds, and it just changes that whole flow. So this this is a pretty big fundamental change. Like, this took them a lot of work to do, and I think it's somewhat in conjunction with the season changes that we're seeing later in the year. I made a video on that earlier. You can check it out in the top corner. But overall, one Endgame is the big thing that is coming with Year 6 Season 1, and that should, again, just further streamline the Division 2 experience and help bridge together the different types of players that we have in the game. As far as commendations, they talk about how there's one hardcore commendation that has to be removed because of the removal of gear score. In compensation, they're releasing 5 new descent commendations, which you can see right here, so those should be fun to hunt after if you enjoy the descent mode. Then we get to the new gear, weapons, and talents coming with the Year 6 Season 1 first Rogue. Of course, we tested a lot of these on the PTS. A lot of people were wondering if they were going to make changes to this stuff based off of the PTS feedback. And at least on a few of these, they have. The first is the new exotic shotgun titled Overlord. This is the look at it. Looks pretty sick, I think, as far if we're just going visual based. I like how this looks a lot. But then if we read the talent here, it says that hitting an enemy will apply a stack of negative 4% movement speed for each pellet hit for 5 seconds. Shooting again will reapply the stacks. This is an increase from negative 1.5 in the PTS. So it's had well over a 100% buff in terms of how much that individual debuff, applies to you. And so that should make it pretty darn strong in stuff like PvP and other content. I'll be interested to see how that plays out, but they have buffed that one by quite a bit from the PTS. We then have the new Acosta's knee pads. This is not changed from the PTS. I went and compared with the patch notes there. Basically, it's all movement stuff. If you vault, you get extra movement. If you don't move for a few seconds, you get extra movement. If you get hit by status effects, you have more movement. That's basically what it's all about. I'm interested to mess around with it. I do worry that it's going to be a little bit underwhelming, but still, interesting concept for sure. Then we have the new gear, including the Breaking Point gear set. This is the one that was all based around rifles, and it has also gotten a bit of a buff. The 2-piece gives you 25% rifle and MMR damage, 3-piece 30% headshot, 15 weapon handling. That stuff is all the same. What has changed is down here on the 4-piece, they now make it so that hitting a shot with a rifle or an MMR grants stack, and when you reload, you get 2% weapon handling, that's the same, and 4% weapon damage per stack for 10 seconds. This 4% is up from 2%, so they've doubled the amount of damage that you get per stack here. You then have these additional things here, but then also for the amplification talents, they made it so that, well, the chest piece one is the same. You can increase the timer from 10 to 15, but on the backpack called Point of Honor, it increases the weapon damage bonus from 4 to 6%. Previously, this went from 2 to 3, and now it's 4 to 6. So if you're running the backpack, you get 6% damage per hit. That can start to get pretty strong on some either high rate of fire rifles or ones that have really high base damage. So given the buffs they made to this, I will be interested to try it out. I do wish maybe some of the functionality had been changed a little bit because it seemed slightly clunky in practice, but I think once you get used to it and with the damage increases that it got, this could be pretty strong, so I'm interested to try it out. This is the new brand set and the named items that we're getting. This stuff all remains the same from the PTS from the best of my knowledge from what I saw there. Again, mostly aimed at rifle, things like that. As far as new talents, we have the Brazen talent coming to shotguns. This also got a pretty significant buff from the PTS. Previously it was 1%. Now you receive 3% amplified damage on the next shot with the weapon for each pellet that hits the target if at least 6 pellets hit. So yeah, that's a pretty notable increase. And then you have the perfect versions on the Super 90 and Spaz 12 there. We then, of course, have the Diamondback exotic rework. This is mostly the same from the PTS. I made a video on it. Again, I'll link it in the top corner if you want to check that out. But the Diamondback should be a bit stronger heading into next season. They did also adjust the magazine size from 5 to 8, which is something that I talked about. So it's now going to have a way bigger mag, bit higher base damage, all that stuff pretty good. Then the Apparel Event is actually going to cross over with some transmedia content that we've seen from the franchise. We move down here. It's the Crossroads Apparel Event. So this is the book trilogy that has been going on for the past 2 years. So it says in Season 1 First Rogue, we are launching an apparel event called Crossroads. This apparel event will include items that will allow player to wear the attire of their favorite characters from the Operation Crossroads trilogy. So that's a pretty cool crossover. And this is the kind of stuff that I hope we see the Division continue to lean into as they expand this universe. Because that's, right, the whole point of having a universe is that's all interconnected. So this is a pretty cool one. I'm excited to see that come in. The apparel event itself will work the same as they always have with the keys and everything there. We then have a new season pass, of course. It'll cost the same as always, but they mention here, and this is notable, for the first time ever, Year 6 Season 1 is available to all players of the Division 2 and does not require the ownership of Warlords of New York. That, of course, is the benefit of them doing this one endgame system. So again, that's cool that we now have everybody in one united endgame. That should be pretty good. And of course, this is all going to work as it usually does with the season pass. We have 10 skins coming, 10 gear dice, 2 vanity outfits, and 1 face mask. Then they leave us off with one interesting note down here. First, they say you can track some top level investigations by, going over to the known issues board. That is always linked in the description of my video, so feel free to check that out. But here's the last sentence. Let me highlight it here. And last but not least, to help agents stay fresh under the scorching sun in Washington, D.C., we will be hosting a special summer event this August. More information to come. Now, I am not sure what this is going to be. It could be a number of things. I've heard people say that it sounds like it's apparel-based because they say help agents stay fresh under the scorching sun. Maybe it's some kind of summer apparel event. Maybe. It could also be some kind of news broadcast. People are saying because they say they're hosting a special event, that sounds more like a stream than it does something in-game. Or, and I admit this is optimistic, but maybe this is some kind of in-game gameplay limited time event. I've always said that I wish the Division franchise did more things like that, akin to what they were going to do with Codename Nightmare back before that got canceled. But if this is some kind of summer in-game limited time event, that'd be pretty sick. I don't know what it is. We're going to find out more information over time, of course, but that is an interesting little tease for them to drop there at the end. And that would be a nice mid-season refresh if we go back up to the calendar here. This starts tomorrow, and then once we get to August 6th, we're kind of right in the middle of everything. That would be a nice refresh to have some kind of event go down here. So I'll be interested to find out what that's going to be. Well, my friends, that is everything that we know for now regarding Year 6, Season 1 of the Division 2 titled First Rogue. Again, this all drops tomorrow. I'm very excited to dive into the story. We had a lot of questions about how they were going to handle things, given that the Brooklyn DLC got delayed. It was originally going to come out right after the previous season, but now we have Aaron Keener in DC. I'm excited to see what that means. Interested to see what these trial things for the Manhunt objectives are going to be. And of course, dive into the usual seasonal offerings. It's also cool that now we have everybody in this one united endgame that should set up the Division 2 fairly well for everything moving forward. But yeah, that's about all we've got for today, everybody. I will be live with Year 6 Season 1 tomorrow morning, so if you want to tune in and see what's going on with the new season, then I would love to have you there. But for now, let me know your thoughts on everything that we went over in these patch notes, everything coming with First Rogue. Let me know if you have any questions, and as always, I'll do my best to answer. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to click that subscribe button as well if you haven't already to stay up to date on the latest with the Division 2. But that is going to do it for me today, folks. Until next time, RogueGold. Out.